Greetings, greetings. This is Body-Culinary, giving you all a warm shout out from CA. It is rainy season here right now, so I don't know if you can hear the rain. It's coming down quite hard. So this is a get ready with me. This is a get ready with me video, and I'm going to share with you how I got out of jail. Right, and so what I'm starting with in my get ready with me is my cucumber and thyme herbal elixir made in my own healing food laboratory with my own juicer with my own hands, so no preservatives. So I'm taking a nice friendly cotton ball, and I'm just putting some of the cucumber on there, and guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna wipe it on my face. All right. So there are no products at all on my face. So for those folks that haven't been on my channel or that are new to my channel, welcome. This is Body-Culinary. And I'm going to share right off the bat, I am one of those chocolate women that used to have quite an intense case of acne. And so I tried Proactive, which used to cost, I think, about $40 plus shipping back in the day, which was about 40 something bucks a pop, which was no small change, especially as a mom, and to be buying that stuff all the time. Now, keep in mind, I've been eating natural and exercising and having a lot of good habits for years, but I still had quite a case of adult acne. And that to me was I found it very embarrassing. I felt very uncomfortable. It was just not a good deal. There are even times where I just wanted to put makeup on to cover it up. So again, this is my cucumber and thyme elixir. There is a video on this channel about the cucumber thyme elixir. Do subscribe to the channel. Take advantage of the content. There's lots of great content for you folks out there. You ladies and whoever else that want to start beginner gardening and grow something, everybody can grow something, even if you're in a very cold environment. I've done it. So there is several videos here on gardening. If you're interested in whole living foods, which are cruelty-free foods, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, whatever labels you want to put on yourself is on your own business. I'm not so much into the labels, but the way that I'm consuming is real, natural, whole food you can recognize. Everything is coming from my own kitchen. I have a small garden. And then also I patronize the local farmers market. So it's a real simple, but it's a good lifestyle. So there is a video on this channel. Do check that out. It's the cucumber thyme rinse. And one of the reasons that I made that video is so that folks can have an alternative to rose water, right? I just have this thing about us having this natural beauty stamp, this natural afro textured hair, and my hair is actually very fine, and I'm feeling like everything that we use for beauty is outsourced, right, and controlled by folks, mediums, companies that don't have this beauty stamp. So it's a big source of resources that is leached out, and it doesn't really benefit the folks that have this unique beauty mark, right? This beauty stamp, right? All women have their beauty stamp. Can't take anything away from other folks, but this is ours and it's unique. So, isn't it amazing that that we're not really prospering, even though we do see more natural products now, shea butters and hair elixirs that we're making? Still, it's by a fraction. It's not enough. It's not enough. So that video is on this channel, and if you're into using lots of produce and fruits and vegetables as a lifestyle, and you're buying by the pound, and if you're paying organic, why not get the maximum use out of it? So I found what healed my acne was eating foods, right? No dieting, as well as putting fresh fruits and vegetables on my face. So that's what I'm doing. So now I'm using the cucumber thyme rinse. It is a wonderful alternative to rose water. Right, which let's be real. Unless you're harvesting and growing your own roses, I do have one growing outside, so hopefully it will proliferate into a rose bush. But just after buying this stuff over and over, the amount of the amount of plastic that we're using, and then such a small amount. I can make this very easily in my own refrigerator. It doesn't have any preservatives in it. I don't have to worry about any kind of chemicals in it. I know exactly what's in my food. I know exactly what's going on my face, right? So if you check out some of the hauls that I've done, you'll see I have this thing for seeing how rich and wealthy I can live off of different budgets, right? And I love to go to the farmers market. So today was actually a farmers market um, day. So do check out that video because I share with you all the goodies I find. So I really love showing all the different ways and varieties and things we can do with fresh fruits and vegetables so that health and beauty are accessible to all of us, right? My grandma Lou didn't call fresh food organic. It was just fresh food, so that's what I'm using from the inside and the outside. And it has worked for me because if you look at some of my old videos, my skin was looking toe up. And periodically, there's really hardly anything on the cotton because I don't have any products on my face. It's very hydrating. When we think of what is it? What is the acid? I can't think of the name of the fruit acid that's in most of these different fruits that is touted on the packages of the products, even the products that you get from the health food store. Buying food by the case, which is what I've done over the years, right? Eating so much produce. It occurred to me one day, like, why am I buying all this stuff, paying top dollar, even in the health food store and the food co-op, when I'm buying all these fresh fruits and vegetables? Why don't I put it directly on my face? So that was really quite an epiphany for me. Saves quite a bit of money. And then even the pulp and the residue left over after I've extracted every single thing out of the fruits and vegetables goes in the compost, or I can even use the pulps for other kinds of dishes. So that again is the cucumber herbal rinse, which you can make yourself. Even if you don't have a juicer, there's a video on this channel, how to make juice without a juicer. So you see where I'm going. Many of us do have blenders or NutriBullets, or little portable Ninja blenders. And so there's so much that you can do inexpensively that gives you really beautiful results because you're working with your body. So I'm just here to share another alternative. So this hair, right? This hair, and I've been natural going on I've returned to natural, right? Because natural is our natural state. I've returned to natural going on about 30 years. So locks is still relatively new for me. I do have very fine hair. So this is an encouragement. I really feel that this is such a wonderful alternative for many women with acne, even if you don't have acne, but in particular women that are challenged with our esteem when it comes to acne and fine hair. I mean, let's be honest, it really takes a hit on our esteem. So I find that this is a wonderful alternative. It's been such a learning lesson. So you see how thin this little lock is, and you see how these are coming in. They're coming in nice and flat. It is such an epiphany to leave ourselves alone. Now, I'm not saying neglect. I am not saying neglect. And I've actually seen some beautiful bunga locks that I like, but this is not, I won't call this neglect. So these are semi-free form. But when I tell you, I feel like I have been released from jail. Even as a natural, once the hair gets to a certain length, and if your hair is very, very fine, detangling it is quite a process. And me traveling quite a bit and without having products and traveling in Central America, I would be trying to take the tangles out of my hair eventually with a safety pin. But my hair just wanted to lock. So no mirrors, not having access to anything, even though I was only using natural oil and aloe. Finally, I just decided to leave it alone and to stop fighting it. And so I think part of the discomfort is we don't know what the hair is going to do, especially if you have fine hair. I used to wear double-stranded twists, which I found really worked for me even more than cornrows. Love cornrows, but my scalp would always be itching when it was exposed with the parts. So it'd be itching profusely, even when it wasn't braided tight. So my locks started from double strand twists, and when I would twist them, my hair would look very, very scalpy. So finally, when I decided to even stop twisting, it's like, oh my gosh, as the hair sometimes buds and beads up, I think we're very concerned that it's not going to look presentable or that it looks ugly. I've gone several different stints where I've tried oil and then taken the oil out and tried oil and taken the oil out. And my hair is super, it's light. Again, if you have acne, having lots of products can contribute to acne. And it's this thing, again, these beauty standards, right? With our hair feeling dry, it's like cotton. So it's cotton moist. It's not so much dry and brittle, but it has like a natural, I don't know, to me, the best word I can think of is balance. And so I would have to say, I'm really love my hair even more and more now. It's light and it's very warm where I am now, even to hot. And I don't feel with the oil, every now and then my hair would start to feel like heavy ropes. And not even about a month and a half ago, I experienced all of a sudden the oil in my hair felt like, I don't know, natural oils felt like I had a coating of plastic on my hair. And that was a horrible feeling. I didn't even think it would come out. So I am not feeling any oil. So now there is absolutely no product in my hair. It doesn't feel crispy. My scalp feels absolutely wonderful. It feels wonderful. There's no itching. There's no dandruff. None of that. I've had several people ask me, right? Because one of the big concerns with folks going semi-free form, which is what my hair is. So that means I'm not twisting. I haven't twisted in months. So in quite a long while. I don't know if it's going on a year that I haven't twisted. But some folks who have hair that grows away from the lock, the concern is sometimes you have to interlock or, or crochet the hair back in. But it just gets so simple. So several folks have said to me, how do you work with your hair if your hair grows away from the lock? So let me show you this complicated process, if there are any there. When it grows away from the lock, being that there's an afro here, I just take my hand and I stick it in. That's it. That's it. See if I can press it in here a little bit more. But I can stick it in the middle and it will mat on its own. So there's no interlocking. There's no scalpiness. The other thing that I will do from time to time, this is like super soft. You can use a baby brush for those folks that are feeling more corporate, or if you're going out and, it's really like, little knots on top. This is so soft. This is not a harsh brush. I just embrace my afro on the top. So if I wanted to, quote unquote, neaten it up a little bit, my afro, this is so soft. This is not scratching my skin at all. That's it. So I am totally embracing my fro. So this equates to me to being relieved and released from hair gel. I would even say beauty gel. Now, don't get me wrong. I could appreciate, I've been watching the natural hair movement for many, many years, even before it was really popular. And I have my favorite YouTubers, and I can really learn from anybody, whether their hair is twisted or salon locks or freeform locks. But this is what works for me. I have fine hair. It's not very dense. My hairline is very, very delicate. I have an interesting brown color, which I have no interest in dyeing, because if I've seen so many folks with damage, why would I want to do that at this point? Plus, I'm not into the dangerous chemicals going in near my brain. So, into myself. So it's really been a process of embracing what I call radical self-acceptance. And what is so pleasurable and so calming and so centering and so coming from a place of sanity is just like when I first cut my hair off many years ago, realizing I don't have to do anything to myself to be beautiful. That is my natural state. And so you couldn't pay me to put a process in my hair. Actually, you couldn't pay me to put a wig on. And I remember in high school, there was one, well, I was being fashionable and I put a wig on. And I'm glad I've had all those experiences, but I don't need it. And so I never felt more beautiful than when I first cut my hair off. First I had a round Nefertiti cut, and then the next week I went back and I cut it all down because I saw this beautiful black chocolate model with a low peach fuzz cut. I wore it for many, many, many years, and this is my fourth year of having locks. But just allowing the springiness of the afro, it's such a relief. It's such a relief. And although I appreciate the fresh face look of makeup, looking years down the line at from picking, not having our eyebrows because we basically pick the eyebrows off, sometimes damaging our eyelashes and our eyebrows. Don't get me wrong, I love mascara, but sometimes we pick until we totally destroy what's there. So sometimes, it's just a sneaky suspicion that something is wrong. I love the natural beauty, but I was looking at one particular YouTuber, beautiful, stunning chocolate sister, and I saw she had 3.3 million views. Now, okay, I was just wondering. Now, social experiment. Will I be shamed because I don't have makeup on? Will I be shamed? You should go fix your hair. In this day and age, with so many more women have gone natural. But if I don't have um, makeup, a bra, um, if I don't have a whole lot of made up stuff in the presentation, very interesting. Will I be shamed? Will folks go after my looks? Will I be insulted? Will strangers behind the internet insult me and tell me I need to do this and I need to do that to be acceptable, or to be attractive? And to be attractive to who? To ghosts behind a computer screen that don't pay my bills, that don't do anything really for me. I spend my own time on YouTube, just periodically just expressing, and I think it's really wonderful to see such a spectrum of women in their stages of natural, or even some women that wear makeup and stuff. Like, for example, Angela Bassett to me is absolutely stunning, and I really appreciate the fact that she puts so much time and effort in prioritizing her self-care. Plus, it's also her business, but I think she does that for herself, as a standard for herself. So I can't tell grown folks what to do. I don't have any interest in telling grown folks what to do. I can only share my journey, but I can tell you, I feel like such a sense of relief. I even feel sometimes like these makeovers. I feel like sometimes they contribute to a bit of mental illness, right? The underlying anxiety that is driving us to spend and purchase more and more. The purchasing part is kind of like I would say, a conflict of interest, because it's for a profit. Who really has the best interest of chocolate women feeling totally secure with no makeup on? Again, I'm not knocking uh, beautiful women with a fresh face look of makeup, but we felt almost some like shamed off of social media if we don't have, the eyelashes that come up to here looking like fans. Sometimes it just looks so artificial. So I might have shared before on this channel that I went through an experiment with myself for many years, where I took off all makeup, jewelry, and everything, just to be able to sit with myself, right? For several years. And I know when I took the earrings off, I felt like, whoa, I have to put them back on. But after that experiment, I found that I would say I did that for many years. When I went back and tried to put makeup on, it felt very artificial. And I'm not saying I would never wear makeup for a photo shoot, but I just feel very comfortable in my own skin. And then I would also say um, that many of us, the who are we trying to impress or to pull, or to attract, when we don't feel very comfortable? Do we really feel comfortable in our own skin? Do we feel beautiful? Do we feel validated? Do we feel do we feel cherished? And we hear it all the time. It sounds so cliche, but it's occurred in my personal journey that I'm just sharing. Is that really has to come um, from our own selves first, and numero uno. A lot of times we're waiting for validation that may likely never ever come from outside of you, right? And so a confidence in how you carry yourself, it comes from within, really taking a stand and saying, I like me, I appreciate me, I find myself beautiful, I find myself valuable, and we're in such a time, there's so much pressure. If you think about it, another experiment I did with myself, and anticipating some things that I'm going to be doing with business. I said, let me think about making a makeover, right? Whole other extreme, from no makeup and no earrings to contemplating a quote unquote makeover. So I'm looking through these YouTube beauty channels and looking at the other beautiful chocolate sisters and concealer. And, if you look at some of these makeover videos, the person does not look even like the same person. And I know for me internally, that's really a concern, because this feeling of almost feeling like addicted to a false image of myself and feeling like I don't have worth or value if I don't have all that stuff on. That's very alarming to me. So I know when I started to put makeup on, this experiment, when I went, I bought some of this stuff as the experiment. I bought some concealer, light foundation, some mascara, which I always love mascara. So I tried all the stuff on, and some might say, well, maybe you should go to a professional. I felt like a clown. I felt like an absolute. It just felt like too much. I've gotten used to my skin breathing, especially as someone that had a lot of acne. Um, I know I could feel, I like seeing my nails and my skin breathing, because I know it's a large eliminative organ. It's a pore. Pores need to breathe. I know I can think of folks that have just come out of the hospital that have pain patches and all kind of medication patches that go through the skin. So if that's going through the skin, can you imagine the toxic load of chemicals that is going into our skull through our brain, right? Through the control center and through our brain. And it just doesn't overall resonate with me. And can we be really comfortable? Which is why I'm so, what I really like to encourage is that health is the ultimate beauty product, right? I think so many of us have a fear, if we just call it out, have this fear of not being chosen, or um, not being accepted, or who's going to choose you. And so maybe some of us will never get married, but most of us don't have a problem having children or hooking up at some point with each other. So I think it's really for us to write a new narrative. I know that's something over the years that's been a process where I'm constantly like, I'm writing a new narrative. And then sitting in that confidence, just a different feeling. I feel like it's like a vaccine or an immunity, and that's been such that's happened in layers. So I have been released from hair gel, and let me tell you, it feels wonderful. Sometimes I just look in the mirror, I'm like, wow, I love my hair. It compliments me. It's me. It's what's growing out of my head. And so I just want to give a quick shout out to, let me just tell you a couple of my favorite YouTubers. One may or may not be well known. Her name is Salkus Ray. And so she inspired this particular charm that I shine periodically. It's called Ugly. And some people are like, ugly, like might think like, why the heck would you call yourself ugly? And so it's a whole, if you really, really, really think about it, it's really about taking your power back. That's why I think this is a great experiment. Would this video get 3.3 million views if I have no makeup on and I'm rocking my own hair with my own color? There's even a gray, in there, or will I be shamed? From time to time. It's a predatory environment on the internet, and you have a lot of folks, even some of our men folks, that may be going through whatever they're going through with low esteem, or just not feeling good about themselves, that will come on the internet behind a ghost channel and hurl insults, or make predatory kind of comments, which is really, it's actually really sad, but it's the climate that we're living in. So that's a really, really important charm, because when I think of the ugly behavior, and you can't do anything about other people's perception of you, but how do you perceive yourself? Because am I ugly? No, by no means. But popular culture or TV or other cultures may try to put that stigma on us, may try to shame you if you don't go along with the herd and do what everybody else is doing. And if you dare wear your own hair, if you dare not ascribe to what everybody else is doing, right? So, the other beauty charm, right? And all of these things are very purposeful that I love to wear is called, and again, somebody made this for me in Central America. It's called, and I just chose what I want on. It's Afro. So I really love venerating and celebrating the natural beauty mark that we have, which is this cotton. And I put it on a clear piece of string. It's something that I wear because it represents fertility and valuing us. Just all the wonderful characteristics of women and the feminine. I really enjoy being a woman. I honor myself. I find myself beautiful. I really enjoy being a woman. So that is to really celebrate fertility and the ability to bring forth life. So I did have a son and I had him at home. So I really enjoy being a mother and as well an auntie and a community mother. All of that good stuff. So I really enjoy that. So I saw, hey, greetings from Pennsylvania. So I'm up late this weekend. So I'm just celebrating being released from hair jail. And I would say this is a whole nother level. Although I've been natural for many years, one of my homies did sister locks many, many years before they were really popular. Some corporate women were starting to become familiar with sister locks. So I probably would have gotten sister locks, but the idea for me of sitting inside of a salon and not, your arms used to hurt even from doing a double strand twist, of sitting in a salon for hours and hours, even though you only do it like maybe a couple of times a year. It just had zero appeal for me. So I always like to be able to be in control of grooming myself. So I feel like this is a wonderful option. There's so many women out there with thinning hair and fine hair. And again, just like with the eyebrows, we're picking it to death and we're twisting it to death instead of celebrating the afro. And so some people call it the quote unquote ugly phase. I don't know if it's so much about an ugly phase as it is about us being comfortable and experimenting with and exploring with what can this hair do. So one of my favorite styles was a double stranded twist that really complemented this fine hair also because it would puff out and then I can open it into a braid out and so on. So I found that really complimentary. So I think it's again in releasing yourself from jail, finding the styles and your sense of style that you're comfortable with, that is sustainable, that keeps you nice and safe from chemicals and poisoning your own self to look attractive for who, right? And there's nothing wrong with looking attractive, and you do look attractive for your own self. But this is a release. My hair feels light. There's no grease. There's no oil. It's like with living foods, right? So I enjoy, and it's been like maybe it's my 11th year. I passed my 11th year of consuming whole fruits, vegetables, seeds, and nuts, not cooked on a stove. So that's a whole nother story. But I really enjoy it. It's not a diet. So in real life, I remember years ago, just first the concept of eating foods raw. Like I was thinking, can you eat a sweet potato raw? How the heck would you eat a sweet potato raw? Can you eat this raw and can you eat that raw? Now I have full confidence that you can put me anywhere on the planet and I can eat very, very well and beautifully, very inexpensively, and I can make it as decadent or as simple as I want. I have variety. I can have noodles. I can have rice, all made from fresh living fruits and vegetables with most of your body is what? Water. So with all this food, living food with water in it. So now I'm very confident, right, that I can eat like that. And I'm confident when it comes to protein, nutrients. So now I don't have to put all that energy there. I can just be creative and play and balance out my food. And I can put all that energy and attention to something else. So now in this journey, it's the same thing with my hair. I don't have to I don't have to twist my hair. I don't have to put any oil in my hair. I don't have to put any oil on my face. So again, the cucumber thyme, I don't have to buy rose water. I don't have to. So that's what I mean. It's like being released from jail. I don't even have to. So I'm sorry. Let me get back for a quick minute till I get ready with me. So I put the cucumber and herbal elixir made in my own food prep area from produce in my kitchen, like one or two, maybe three ingredients, some herb from my garden. Everybody can start a little windowsill garden, and a piece of cotton. That's it. And so the second thing that I'm gonna put on for get ready with me is this raw cocoa butter. I wish you could smell it. This is the Mayans, and they put it in blocks. The raw cacao is here, and you can get it here all the time in the area of Central America on Mac. So now, without anything on my lips feel hydrated. What an epiphany. I don't need to put anything on my lips. And I used to love even the natural lip balms, right from the health food store. But eventually, the more I was eating living foods, my lips felt so hydrated. I don't know, it's just some point. Maybe it's like when you have a perm and some people don't want to cut off the perm and they grow the natural hair out from the perm and then eventually it breaks off. My lips started to feel like I don't need anything on my lips. So I started to feel heavy, if that makes sense, or putting stuff on my lips. So now, even if I wanted to put something on my lips, I don't need anything. This is nothing right now on my lips. Zero. And my lips feel plump and they feel hydrated. Oh, greetings, Chrissy. So this is if I was gonna put something on my skin, and I love beautification. Don't get me wrong. I'm not into the neglect. I'm not doing the neglect. I enjoy, um, putting a raw shea butter, cocoa butter. If you could smell this, this is like such a treat. This smells like this raw, pure cocoa. So if I was gonna put something on my lips, it would be cocoa butter. Or maybe sometimes I want to mix cocoa butter and shea. But that's it. It's not plasticky. I don't feel like I have melted plastic on my lips. So now, if I was kissing somebody, this in terms of you're the one with the lips with the stuff on it, right? The brothers ain't got the stuff on their lips. You have the stuff on your lips. And see, my body temperature makes it melt a little bit. This is the most kissable my lips feel, other than with naturally with nothing on. It's cocoa butter. That's it. And I also take this because of your body temperature, and I just like rub this into my skin. So it does get pretty hot here. And I'll rub this right into my skin, and my skin feels like butter. But this is raw cocoa butter. My skin feels like butter. This is such a treat to your skin. Oh my gosh, smell like raw chocolate. So I know this is just cacao butter. The cacao bean is sold here, the whole cacao bean, and I just get it from the Mayan folks over here from their cooperative. And so that's it on my skin. Maybe shea butter, but that's it. It smells divine, and it's like it's one product. It's a food. Mm. Some people put that in the shakes, but I also my lips feel great with nothing on them because I'm eating fresh whole food. So I don't have to feel like my lips are like greasy, like I have melted plastic bags on my lips. So when you have the cucumber or the cucumber and herbal rinse, I'm putting that in a spray bottle if I want to moisturize my hair. It's a nice alternative to rose water because we get on a kick. We just start ordering stuff by the case. And I'm not saying we shouldn't treat ourselves, but it's actually a lot of money that is going out for this unique beauty stamp, if that makes sense. So the cocoa butter, it's going on my elbows, it's going on my hands. And then, which is so lovely, your body temperature, it just melts right in and it feels so soft and it smells delicious. This is like a treat for your skin. So that's cocoa butter. Let's see what else we have in our get ready with me. And I will take sometimes cocoa butter and or shea butter, and I put it in this one of these little containers, and I take it with me, and it screws on tight so it doesn't melt in your bag, especially if you're in a warm climate. And is there anything else? One other thing that I'll use from time to time is castor oil, right? And I've researched. I like to research. I don't like just to go with the bandwagon. This is just raw castor oil. And then the castor, there's a Jamaican black castor oil, but in my research, in researching the castor bean, which actually for the people that harvest the castor bean, actually the fumes from it can actually be kind of toxic. And so when I research and I look at the price, because I've shopped at a food co-op for many years, I found that the one that's not black is just as valuable as the one that is the Jamaican. Now, I do like to patronize stuff that is coming from people with this unique beauty stamp. But if you don't have access, you can get this and less expensive at a food co-op. So it's inexpensive. So what I did coming up, right, with castor oil, and back in the day it was Vaseline, and then I graduated to castor oil. Is I take the castor oil and I put it on my eyelashes, just a little drop. Or if you want to be fancy, you can take a drop of it and put a drop of it on one of these little brushes that don't even call. You get a pack of these for I don't know how much, and I just brush the castor oil right on my eyelashes. That's it. That's it. And I do have pretty long eyelashes. We know castor oil. They say it stimulates growth, but again, it's no chemicals. Is there anything else? Is that's kind of like my get ready with me now? Oh, one other thing I will do. I'll take the aloe leaf. So I'm growing. Maybe I got about 30 something aloe plants outside, and they started from one little teeny drop. And so I may take one of these little brushes and just brush my eyelashes. So now for me, tweezing my eyebrows over the years, it doesn't grow as dense here, right? But even with my eyebrows, I've learned to just embrace my eyebrows. Sometimes I like the way it looks when it's wet. You know how your eyebrows, they all come down this way when they're wet. And I leave it alone. So I would say this thing I call sometimes mirror work, or sometimes, I see this thing with this younger generation. Everybody's doing the sex kitten, staring at themselves in social media. And I'm not making it bad or wrong, but sometimes just staring at yourself and your raw natural beauty and just appreciating yourself can be so calming. Just looking and saying, appreciating your natural features. You don't miss something until it's gone. And I tell you, when I having a lot of adult acne was it was frustrating. That was that was frustrating, and it was embarrassing, especially like when I work out and I used to do fitness competitions. I had this ripped up body, all this muscle, and then have all of these dark marks. I mean, look at some of the older videos, scarring all over my face. So hyperpigmentation. When I was coming up, the West Indian side of my family would use bleaching creams. And I don't know if y'all remember Ambi. They had the soap and they had the cream. It was basically bleaching cream. But your skin clears up on its own. So if you were to read the boxes, I remember the boxes looking at my auntie's bleaching cream. And so you're learning from them. So you will go get your Noxzema and get your bleaching cream because you're watching what the older women are doing. And it would say it will work for 3 to 4 weeks. So as someone that's had a lot of scarring, right, and that put fruits and vegetables on my face, your skin is going to clear up on its own. I would say not even a month ago, I had a really big zit or pimple from eating too many nuts, or if I don't sleep properly, because I'm not eating any junk at all. I don't enjoy junk at all, but still too much fat and too much nuts will come out on my skin, right? Because sometimes some people's liver can't take it, or we're not digesting the food properly. Like we may not even be chewing it properly. That's a whole nother story. But in the back of the box says it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for your skin to clear up. Your skin will clear up on its own if you just let it breathe and stop putting junk in it, right? You break the cycle. You break the cycle of the breakouts by not putting the stuff in that's causing the breakout in the first place. So now look at that cocoa butter. It just melted in to my skin with my own body temperature. So that's get ready with me. That's it. That's it. So will I be shamed or attacked for not wearing, putting makeup on? And how dare I say, get ready with me, right? When all I'm doing is putting on basically some cocoa butter, a little bit of castor oil, maybe some aloe, some cucumber and thyme. That's it. Again, this is also what I'm putting in a spray bottle if I want to refresh my hair. So if you want to add a little bit of essential oil to it, but it's just simple. This is stuff in my own food prep area. I have no intention to dye my hair. Again, with all of this stuff out there, why should I dye my hair? Everybody, the majority of folks have experienced damage. It's like sometimes I think we get bored with ourselves and we keep trying to do more things to ourselves, when again, at least in my humble experience, the best beauty product is your health. So if we could kind of calm down, it's like an anxiety. Sometimes I really feel like all this pressure to put all this makeup on, I feel like it causes like a bit of mental illness, like in schizophrenia. Like we feel spastic and crazy about being chosen. So this is basically with my hair. It's looking like from the back. And again, this is freedom for me from hair gel. So I have a couple that are 3, and I think those are my favorites. So I don't often get to see what the back of my hair looks like. So many of us would freak out, right? We say, "Oh, my hair is not full," or we fear, fear, fear. My hair is thinning, it's falling out. Just like being spastic about our breast changing shape after giving birth and breastfeeding. So it's only going to be you that's going to calm yourself down and accept. I would call it radical self acceptance. So I love the ones actually that have three on them, right? And so there's no parts at all here. I do have a favorite hairstyle. When I'm exercising, I pull it apart. So even that, I have to kind of leave it alone. All again, epiphany of leave it alone. It's cottony. It's soft. And again, for women that have hair that's not as fine, the afro puffing out, it becomes full. So I know this is thin down here. You can see where it started to combine. I don't think it's been a year yet. Maybe in a couple months it'll be a year where this is growing in flat. But I think it's such a benefit. Most of the videos I see on YouTube, um, everyone wants to get away from flat locks and wants to palm roll and make everything cylindrical. But I'm finding this again is what the hair wants to do, and I'm finding it's complementary because while it may go wider and flatter, it's fuller because of the afro. So I think this is really a relief for many women with fine hair who are twisting and twisting and twisting our hair. I think we're just scared also of what the hair is going to look like. We're fearful of, we don't know what the hair is going to do and what it's going to look like. So it's like, isn't it amazing that we have to have faith and trust in what our own natural hair growing out of our scalp is gonna look like? So this is it. There's no part. I guess I see some people do a side part or something. But again, my hair does not like to be pulled on. I'm tender headed. It will break off. But here's the interesting thing. My hair feels so balanced. Like the crispiness people say that they feel, is feeling like this is the best my hair has ever felt. It feels like a balance. My hair feels like like ah, like finally. I don't have it just feels great. I will wear like a little cap sometimes, and I do find it feels again not dry or crispy. So for a long time I was like I resist wearing things on my hair, but I do feel a difference. So I don't mind the fluffiness, but I find my hair feels, I don't know, again, I don't know if I want to say even more silky and soft by wearing one of these. And I like the look of a Rasta cap. There were some Rasta women in my family growing up as a little girl. So my hair feels so clean. It feels so light. It feels like it has body. I notice the oils in it, even though I absolutely adore the smell of coconut oil, it will coagulate or harden in the States when it gets very cold, right? So I found sometimes that would make my hair start to feel stiff. So now I don't feel all that stiffness. And every now and then I would see my mom who has locks. I was like, wondering, when did she find time to have locks that grew down to her butt? I'm like, when did she find time to grow locks? But she and another good sister friend of mine, they have very soft, spongy locks. And I love that feeling, you know, and it just clean smelling. It just smells like hair. It dries very easily because there's not a whole bunch of oil in it. So this is a relief. It is a release from hair gel. So again, with hair that is very fine, where if you twist it, you would see, if I was to twist my hair right now, you'd see a lot of my scalp. But I feel like it's this normalization or this balance now in my hair. It's just like, so it's not going to be big and full like this, but this is now the fullness. And the more you leave it alone, the more cottony and full, right? Which is a concern for many women with fine hair, is the hair looking full. So the more you leave it alone, the more cottony and soft and full it looks. So it's really about seeing what your hair is going to do. Also with the skin, you'll see that your skin will clear up if you just break the cycle of putting junk into it. As someone that's worked in the fitness industry, I say all the time, if you don't put the junk in, then you don't have to work like a demon to get it off. So this is like an epiphany. It's being released from jail, right? So I hope this is helpful. I feel like I've been released. So let me share with you some of my favorite YouTubers One is Salcus Ray. Again, I really love Salcus Ray. I really appreciate her. She has something called the Ugly Girls Club. And I do appreciate the fact there are many more women having this conversation of level up. I don't think we all have to agree just because we're all from the same um, or a similar ethnic group, whether that's Afro American or Afro Caribbean or African, we're all in that diaspora. Doesn't mean we all have necessarily the same value systems, but we're all going to YouTube looking, to see the next sister's beauty secrets. What are they doing to be healthy? What are they doing to be in shape? I think that's a positive thing. I really make an effort to make a positive use of the internet because there's so much education to be had. And when we could just be released from this anxiety around being beautiful and be accepted, you know how much more free time we have to garden? Do you know how much more free time we have to study another language right now? I don't know how far I get, but I'm taking Chinese, Mandarin, and I have the nerve to be taking Japanese too, with another young woman, and she's actually interested in African dance. So there's so much, you're freeing up so much time to pursue other things. You can relax. That's why I feel like it's like, I've been released from jail. And it's exciting. I don't have to worry about my hair in the rain. I don't worry about any of that. Also, with all the oil in the hair, I think it can have a tendency for folks that experience hair mold and all that other stuff. I think it takes longer for the hair to dry with all those products. But Salcus Ray, Adette Wellington has some of the most beautiful locks, and someone that came on her channel, Ingrid Hart, who is an acting coach. So I think if you go onto her YouTube channel, she has a couple of reels. Oh my gosh! But if you look at how her locks started, again, fine hair, and then you get real spastic, right? And you want to start combining them too soon, and we won't leave the hair. If you look at this woman's hair journey, oh my gosh, just shampoo. And then there are times where I'll just do herbal rinses. I just don't need all the stuff. You can dilute the shampoo. Now, spending a little bit more on a all natural shampoo with no parabens, no sulfates, all these other chemicals, just a good quality clear shampoo makes a difference. I would say there's a huge difference in my hair because it doesn't feel stripped. I've tried, I stayed in the bush for a while, and then coming out of the bush area, which was real. It was actually beautiful, and bathing in creeks and all that other stuff. And my hair, my skin with no products for a couple of years was stunning, stunning. No products at all. However, that's when my hair started to lock up. Although the minerals in the water started to give my hair a bit of a gray cast to it. So eventually I did try a silicone-free shampoo, which smelled really nice, and I got it clear, but because it wasn't all natural, it made my hair feel very dry and crispy because it was actually stripping my hair. So spending a bit more money, I'm not buying anything else. Um, it feels totally different. So hopefully this can shorten the learning curve for some of those women, because I get it. Women with fine hair and with acne and all different types of afro textured hair, where we feel anxious about, will it be accepted? Your parents may give you fever. The job may give you fever, but I feel comfortable. Once it gets to a certain length, then it will start to fall over, and you'll get some length. So now it seems like my hair forever is light and cottony, grows this way, and finally it started to fall over. So I've worn extremely short hair for many, many years, which I love. And now I got a little bit of length, a little bit of hang time, a little bit. And I can put it to the side now with a little ponytail. It just feels so light. Now I can't put a whole lot of things that pull my hair because it will damage my hair, and it's just very uncomfortable. But it's a relief. It's a relief. I'm released from hair gel. I feel comfortable in my skin. I don't have to put makeup on. I'm comfortable in my skin. So Salcus Ray, Adette Wellington, Ingrid Hart, and it's one other young lady. I don't know how well known her channel is, but I love her. She has so much common sense. And just when you think there's so much information about locks, her channel is Emused, Emused. Oh my gosh, she has. Here's what I think is the distinction that I love with these ladies' locks. Their hair is much thicker than mine. However, I'm still learning from them because they have semi-freeform locks. So it's not one big bunga kunga nati dread, right? They're semi-freeform, and their hair all looks so complementary to them, and there's no twisting. There's no twisting. You see all the cottony fro, as well as Ingrid Hart. Ingrid Hart is so impressive, and as well Adette Wellington. So these are women, their hair is thick, but it looks fine, or maybe a lot thicker than mine. But it's so lovely to see similar hair types as mine, because my hair would never come out the way other folks in the tutorials. And Ingrid Hart, her hair is so if you look at where her hair started, right? And it looks fine and thin and super cottony, where you feel like, oh, I got to twist it, I got to combine it. And her hair now her crown looks so stunning and full. Like, you could just see her relief in sitting and resting in her beauty. I mean, it's stunning. It's stunning. It's like an epiphany. And this is me going on 30 years of natural hairstyle. So this is, I would say, my fourth year, perhaps, with locks, but my hair is light. It has body. When you're little, you wanted hair. Remember all the sisters doing the doobies, wrapping the hair so you can have body? It has body. It's an epiphany. I wish I had known about this as a young child. A little bit of separating so they grow together a little bit. So I can pull that apart just a little bit, but it's no fuss. There's no pulling on my hair scalp. I have been released from hair jail. So I really want to encourage women out there that have any kind of acne. I encourage you. There's so many ways. If you only knew how many different ways you could work fruits and vegetables. You can have your pasta. You can have it just requires a little bit of investment and a learning curve to learn how to, now, I call it the ways of the grandmothers, to work with the fresh, whole, natural ingredients. And then you're not leaving toxic waste on your waist. Then you don't have to work like a demon to get it off. It's like being released from jail. So maybe some folks will, sometimes, and you have to get used to it. You're on social media. Some folks that are not going to resonate with this and give it, a thumbs down. So if this message does not work for you, toss it in the garbage, take what resonates and leave the rest. But it is really something for us to be able to relax and sit and give the validation to ourselves and know that that's where a big part of the confidence comes from. It's not from people's boardrooms or accepting us. We can find little cute buns and stuff. Women are creative. We can find simple things. I've gone years with no earrings and absolutely no jewelry, to the point now when I put certain things, and I love mascara. Even when I put the mascara on, I start to feel like it feels artificial. So I'm not saying I would never do that, but it just doesn't appeal to me. I really enjoy my natural skin breathing, not having the benefits to me, not having makeup marks on my linens and all that other stuff. My hair is light. The feeling of having oily ropes on my back when I'm exercising, that did not feel good to me. So it's light. It has body. It's mine. I don't have to do anything to myself. Let me know if y'all can relate. Can anybody resonate with that? Being released from hair jail, you can relax. If anybody has questions, our hair may not be the same. If you have fine hair, Afro textured hair, if you have questions, because this is simple. Some of the questions I've gotten is, what do you do with your hair if it grows away from the scalp? If it grows away from the scalp, when you have a little bit of an afro, you take the piece and you stick it in there and mats together, especially when it's moist, right? Moisturizing when you want to, and also not using shampoos that are stripping your hair. You want something, that feels, if you want your lips super kissable, raw cocoa butter, treating yourself, and also on your skin. It's so simple. It's so simple I could cry. It's so simple I could cry. Like, we are actually so beautiful. I feel like it's like a secret. We are actually so beautiful. This frees up so much time for your garden and for your exercise. Also, I want to encourage those folks, if you don't have a gym membership, if you don't have access to a gym, more women don't have access to a gym than do have access to a gym. So from time to time, with my bestie, with my sister, we'll post videos like the Odisha workout, African dance, which is I love, which is my entrance into fitness was dance. But I encourage folks, even if you have a small space, to create a home gym. So I always have toys I can play with. So the time that you would spend perhaps traveling to and from a gym, you can get like your body nice and sweaty at home. And I would say encourage you, primarily because of the way it makes you feel, to move and to cultivate a personal movement practice, primarily because of how it makes you feel. It's such a release from stress, the sweat, getting your joints and everything lubricated, getting your nutrition to travel throughout your body and to your scalp. We could say exercise. Sometimes that turns people off, but cultivating a movement practice. You could say yoga, not call it yoga. It's flexibility, it's mobility, it's stability. You're going to learn something through participating in the process, but it makes you feel so good and you're sweating out toxins and junk, right? So I encourage you, create a movement practice. This is my latest toy. For years, I went back and forth. Thinking about getting one, and I wouldn't because of the stigma attached to it. But I like fitness. I like moving and playing. And then, hey, Gladheart, I can so relate. I have been so free for almost 4 years. We are so blessed to be able to work out and eat right and learn new things. You're absolutely right. Keep up the good work you're doing. Oh, you're so welcome. Like, I wouldn't get this for years because of the stigma attached to pole dancing, but it's fitness. And this is something I would say also, right? Again, when we free up all that energy from being in hair jail, feeling like we have to do this, we have to do that, we won't be accepted. It's not corporate. We're not beautiful. When you just, to all of that, you can take all of that energy and put it somewhere else. So this is something else I would say in my journey. I would even say it's spiritual, not in this esoteric sense, in a very practical sense. Um, our sensuality, our sexuality, and our sensuality, and even the childbirthing process, who owns it? Who gets to tell us about the process of having a child? Do you tell a kitten, how to give birth and how to breastfeed? These are things that are inherent. Even if you're a new mom or a new mom to be, there's certain things that you will figure out because it is literally wired into your system. So we're in a day and time now where you go on social media, we have everybody of every orientation of sexuality telling women, and not to knock other folks, but telling natural born women, giving us labels of what to call ourselves, and coaching us on femininity and sensuality. And I would have to say, this is just my own experience. I'm not knocking other folks, that I own my sensuality. It's mine. It's nobody else's to tell me. However you want to do your relationships, as long as you get to determine if you're in integrity with yourself, if you're valuing yourself. If I had to say to my younger self, are you putting yourself in harm's way? Do we put ourselves in harm's way? Think about that for a minute. And that can relate from anything. And I'm saying, like, if I got any of my younger sisters out there, even some of the older women, because we're not having these conversations. Are we putting ourselves in harm's way sexually? Are we putting ourselves in harm's way when it comes to toxic relationships because we don't feel confident or nobody else is going to choose us? Are we putting ourselves in harm's way by putting things that are substances masquerading as foods into our bodies? That's a mentality. It's a frame of mind. So we can keep changing the outside, changing the people, but it's a mentality. I don't know if you folks are relating to what I'm saying. I want to make this simple. It's a way of being. It's a way of processing information. So in embracing your natural self, then it spills over. It just makes sense that you only want to put the very best food in your body. So on Instagram the other day, I posted this picture of these. I have these exquisite batch of blueberries, right? So berries sometimes can be a little pricey, but think about it. Or I think, would I rather pay for the blueberries or would I rather pay for the pills? Should I pay for the blueberries or should I pay for the pills? I'll take the blueberries. I'll take the blueberries. They're not leaving waste on my waist. They're hydrating. They're packed full of so many nutrients. And if you should find wild blueberries, that's all the better, right? So it's a mentality. It's a mentality. I used to be a junk food junkie. I was a junk food junkie. I'm also professionally trained as a chef. obesity runs in my family. I recently had another woman in my family pass away from complications with obesity, and it's a legacy of habits, and it speaks to how women, and chocolate women in particular, are dealing with stress, how we are eating, and it's socially acceptable. This whole stigma of big mama, right? Big mama, where they're nurturing and taking care of everyone at our own expense. So yeah, so just not paying attention to the things that we're putting in our bodies. But there have been so many women in my family that have died from obesity, and obesity is like it's like starvation in reverse, if that makes sense. We're starving in reverse, and we're comforting ourselves. I used to suck my thumb when I was a young girl. We're comforting ourselves with food, and there's something else. We're trying to fill a void with physical food. And so, again, at least my experience, without just playing into the labels, I found that eating cruelty free, right? It's a mentality. It's not just a label. Because I want to be cruelty free, first of all, to myself. I want to be cruelty free to my own breasts, to my womb, to my organs, to not clogging up my intestines. So that's cruelty free. And so that kind of mentality, especially as people have been generationally traumatized with slavery in its different forms, how it's manifested throughout the diaspora. Sometimes I think, like, you know, we're protesting and marching and all this other stuff. And do we ever consider the violence that we inflict on other creatures, that we get that karma? That's just how I process it. So it doesn't, unless it was self-defense, it doesn't appeal. The violence, consuming violence, it just does not appeal to me. It just, like, it feels so simple. It doesn't appeal to me. So the way that I'm consuming, you'll have to find your own journey, right? I'm not here to tell grown folks what to do. I can only share my experience. But consuming cruelty free is a mentality. It's at least the least harm possible we want to inflict on others and on the planet that we're getting the food from, right? That we share the planet with. Why would I want to be violent and insensitive? So some people say, "Oh, you get too sensitive." I don't know if it's I'm so sensitive, or we're so numb. Many of us are so numb. But eating cruelty free in a way that doesn't, with the foods out of the plant kingdom, they don't have a central nervous system. For those folks that say plants have feelings, everything has feelings, but there's levels to it. At least the least harm possible. It doesn't appeal to me at this point to have to eat for violence. And there's a lot of studies, we can flourish without necessarily eating animals. So there's just another option for folks. I'm not telling folks, what to do, but what I'm expressing is, like, natural beauty. It's a whole mentality. I hope that this is making sense to folks. I'm just sharing in the spirit, if you will. But just embracing your natural hair. It's like it clicks. It's like a click. Like, it makes sense. A natural hair, eating cruelty free. It saves you so much time and energy and stress. You could kind of relax. I find we are like, um, again, I feel like it's like almost a mental illness. I don't want to demonize the makeup, but what are we making up to look like what, for who? For example, like, again, let's be real, this is social media. Are we getting dressed up? Let's look at some of the people that are in political office, or what a lot of the religious leaders have been doing, right? They're flawed human beings. So we're getting all dressed up to impress who? For money? Are we impressing deviants, perverts, folks that would exploit us? Who are we getting dressed up for? Are we getting dressed up for people who have high levels of character, not just what they have? Are we just trying to get dressed up to pull somebody to pay our bills? Are we overlooking character? What are we seeing is the result of looking at what people have and overlooking their character. What can we say about this as women? Overlooking character. I'm not saying we have to be religious zealots, right? And religious fanatics, but just at a basic level, if we turn down the volume on all religions and look at behavior, look at character, are we constantly overlooking character, right? for just what people have, and we're getting dressed up and we're told to level up and put on wigs and all this stuff to impress who to get what. It just doesn't make sense. So this is a mentality of radical self-acceptance, and you choosing you instead of waiting for somebody to ask you to dance. Go out and dance instead of waiting for an ideal situation, working with what you have. If that's lentils, if that's a little kitchen garden and growing your sprouts, if that's getting a little trampoline and a little ball and a hula hoop, is working with what you have. I'm really hoping, I'm just speaking from the heart. I'm really hoping this can encourage women to embrace a natural lifestyle that's simple. You don't have to join a cult. You don't have to go follow behind folks and jump into a religion. I like to say, like the plants are not trying to scam me. They're not trying to get in my pants. They're very calming. They teach you so many lessons. You put so much in, you get so much out. Sometimes you can do all this work, and sometimes just by nature, some of those plants, some of the seeds don't germinate. They don't bust. So there's so much to be said for a natural lifestyle that is so calming. It is so grounding. It is so worth it. So I don't know, but I'd be so curious to see what kind of response. Would this video get 3.3 million views because my edges are not laid, or because I don't have concealer? I can't even name all the different products that are out here: contouring, highlighting, eyeshadow, brow brush, brow gel, uh, foundation, powder. That's a lot of stuff and a lot of money every day, sometimes several times a day. What if you want to exercise? What if you want to go out in the garden, and sweat? You know, I need to go out in the garden today. Somebody's coming by today to help out in the garden, to relax in the garden today, and have other chores. I can't even get anything done. I don't even know that it's functional. So sometimes I just get the sneaky suspicion like something is not right with this picture, although it looks fantastic, looks beautiful, looks fantastic, looks beautiful. But we're living, what's the word? Vicariously through celebrities. And we know that celebrities a lot of times get free makeup and free clothes because they're the perfect specimens to sell stuff to the rest of us. So I want to relax. I want to relax, and I enjoy sitting in the skin. I enjoy the skin that I'm in. And again, I look in the mirror sometimes and I say, I love my hair because it's so functional. It's functional, and it's me. It's what's coming out of my head naturally. It's like I can't believe the amount of hours and the amount of your lifetime that is spent in sheer anxiety to try to impress who for what. It doesn't make any sense. So hopefully you'll make it take advantage. Check out those folks. That I found those folks really inspirational to me. Salcus Ray, who I love, she gives you such a good dose of just common sense. She gives it to you raw. Love me, some of the ugly girl. So check it out. Just check it out. I love it. This is my pendant for the ugly girl. And then also these little charms of the Carrie, celebrating our Afro and our femininity, right? And then this one I had, all of this was made expressly for me. This is made by another sister for me, and I had her made it custom for me, Afro. So, you cast your own little spells. You get to say how your life goes. You get to rewrite your narrative. In an age we're allowing too many folks to write the narrative for us. When it comes to how we birth children, to our gynecology, I have a list, gynecologic GYN exams, right? If somebody else is writing the narrative other than natural born women, natural born chocolate women, we're allowing other folks, religions, everybody else to write our narrative for who we are, what's beautiful, and what's acceptable. And it's not our natural beauty. It's ridiculous. And we're paying folks money to be up in our psyche, up in our pants, and up in our head. It makes no sense. It just doesn't make sense. So if this resonates with you, so be it. If it doesn't, toss it in the garbage. This is not truth. This is just one woman just expressing and sharing my experience. So with that being said, I know it is late in these hours. Hopefully you get up and enjoy your Sunday. My sister and I usually do a posting, our little show called Black Girl Vegan Food and Fitness, Eastern Standard Time at 2 o'clock on Facebook. We make an effort to make a positive use of the internet because, again, as women, if we're not leveraging the internet to educate ourselves, what are we saying? Traveling around the world, you see many of women having to, with this unique beauty stamp, having to sell themselves to generate income. It's not all, but I've seen it. And so it's up to us to write a narrative. Then to work so hard and take the money and give it back to these beauty supply stores. We're trying to be beautiful to who and for what? And what are we left with at the end of the day when by popular culture will toss you in the garbage in your 30s or age 35? And an interesting thing, as I've embarked on studying Mandarin and also Japanese, is I'm kicking it with my Japanese homie, and she was sharing with me that women and many women in Asian cultures feel panicked at 20 if they're not a housewife. Isn't that amazing? And so they really master beauty masks and beautification and having what they call glass clear skin. But to hear from a Japanese woman's perspective is so enlightening. That's why education, when you can not have to worry about this, you have so much more time freed up to explore other things like play, fitness, and education. Are we really leveraging the internet to have access to education? And just like with this sharing, to share information. Do you believe in fasting? Can it benefit you? Have used fasting, but not sure I saw any results for my locks. They seem softer when the fast was over. I've started fermenting veggies. I think, first of all, fermenting and fermented foods and vegetables, I think they're excellent. It's very inexpensive. And I don't know if you could call it homesteading, but I have this thing about being able to we can't do everything ourselves. There are only so many hours in a day, but there is a lot we can do for ourselves, especially when it comes to beautification and what we're putting in our bodies. So I would definitely say fermented vegetables are like 2 thumbs up. Korean women make kimchi. You have some of the Eastern European women make sauerkraut. These are things we can all learn to do. I think I posted some pictures of me making my own. So I've made vinegar. I've made different types of krauts and kimchi at home. These are things that, to me, I find fun to make. So these are things, I don't know if I'll post those things here or if I'll post recipes, because I do more. It's not just a recipe, it's a mentality. So I'll definitely be posting more information on the bodyculinary.com website as well as here. I just have to decide what content to land where, because there are only so many hours in a day and editing takes up a lot of time. Now, in terms of fasting, I'm trained in fasting, but I can tell you now, I like to keep it real. And working at a holistic health center for many years, I've seen people, they were usually 1-day fast, 3-day fast, 7-day, 14-day, 28-day, and I've seen people do 100-day fast. From what I have seen over the years, the vast overwhelming majority of people I don't see maintain after a fast. I don't see that most people prepare for the fast properly. Again, I think there's a lot of anxiety around us fasting. I think there's a lot of judgment and condemnation we put on ourselves. I think we're trying to deal with a lot of issues through fasting, although you can, but I don't think we're taking our time with fasting. We're trying to do a lot really quick. And there are also a lot of emotional things and trauma that comes up with fasting, that where things can be triggered and have us binge eating before the fast and after the fast. And so we can sometimes lose the benefits, of the fast. And then I think sometimes, just like with the label of veganism, sometimes our ego can get caught up in, I just did a fast, I'm vegan, I'm different than everybody else. So I think what I was trained in, which my mentor is very smart, is nutritional fasting. So I think, and she was so on point. With many people jump into a water fast, and I think it can be very extreme because we have so much toxins in our system that can flood into your bloodstream, and then we're not prepared mentally for what we're going to do after. So to think, for example, what I've heard quite often, I'm gonna go all out and have all this cheesecake, and I'm gonna have all this stuff before the fast because my fast is coming. That actually is a lot of stress on the body and on your organs, your intestine. You can get lots of cramps. And then sometimes, actually, there's a video on this channel called Failed at Fasting. So that you can check out. So I get that there's like we're looking for answers, but sometimes there's such anxiety behind it. I think finding the things that we can do regularly, and that is sustainable is much more sane and approachable. So we can observe where our headspace is when it comes to cultivating a movement practice and to observing our food habits. So definitely all the fruits and vegetables will definitely benefit your hair. So drinking fresh juice, and not even mostly fruit juices, fresh whole living fruits and vegetables. Again, I had a bunch of acne. So if my skin is clearing up, it's also affecting my hair and my internal organs, right? It's a whole system. So I think fasting put in its proper context, an effective, practical context that's safe and sustainable, I think that makes more sense, if you will. And I think, again, I think sometimes we can get caught up in the ego of, I just did a fast, and not looking at if we're being effective and what is our long term goal. Similar to if I put on my fitness hat for a second, many people can jump into now. They have Spartan races, Tough Mudder. I've had clients that came off of years of inactivity and jumped into a marathon and completed the marathon. But at the end of the marathon, I've had some people that had to have surgery because their body, their tendons and their ligaments just were not ready for that amount of workload. Right. And so it kind of wasn't respecting where the body is, kind of riding off maybe what I did in high school, but my body's in a different place right now. And the body can adapt, but over time. So just making things practical and sustainable. So to me, one of the simplest approaches is, if you don't put junk in, you don't have to. I'm more of a paradigm shift kind of person. So when I'm working with folks as a chef and nutrition consultant, and also as a coach that coaches people in cultivating a personal movement practice, I really coach folks to look at what is sustainable. What is your motivation? If you're looking at your triggers, your emotional triggers around your food, I find that can be more sustainable. And also, you're really getting to a root of things. You're really cultivating an awareness around what's driving your behavior, right? So similar here, even with the hair, what's driving is our makeup and all this stuff. Is there really a undercurrent of anxiety around not being comfortable in our skin, not feeling worthless, even feelings of worthlessness? Is that really the undercurrent that's driving all of our makeovers? If that makes sense. So the fermented vegetables, I think, are fantastic. Fasting put in its proper context. We may get more mileage out of adapting our food, our consumption habits, than sometimes fasting, and then allowing our body to get to a point where it's ready to do that, right? Rather than a binge purge. I've seen a lot of that, and also working around and with a lot of colon therapists, acupuncturists, massage therapists, a lot of body workers. A lot of times there's it's like a binge purge mentality with a lot of these healing modalities. Or we may go get a massage, but we don't do any movement. We don't have a movement practice on a regular basis on our own. So similar to going to the doctor, we we expect the doctor to just fix it, right? My cousin that just recently passed, you know, folks were saying, let's just pray that the doctors can fix this, right? But how are the doctors going to fix years of the habit or the mentality of inactivity, or feeling like I don't have time, or tomorrow, or eating substances masquerading as food? How much praying and how many can the doctors really fix that? So the perspective or the paradigm that I'm coming from is getting to the root of what is driving our behaviors, if that makes sense. So even just radical self-acceptance, it's a mentality that can allow you to relax, and also to see, to have an awareness of what it is that we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing. Be calm and be aware, and you can use your natural beauty and beautifying and grooming yourself, because I'm not saying neglect at all. Because I don't have makeup on doesn't mean that, that I scrimp on my food. Scrimp, squinch, skimp on my food. Like, I'd rather pay the money for the blueberries and for the greens and take the time to prepare that food for myself. Some of us don't want to put the work in, and it's not really a work. I find it a joy, because you got to go stand in line for inferior food that's going to leave I like to say waste on your waist. So is it really worth it? So I'm coming from another perspective, another paradigm, if you will. I'm not going to say better. It's something I found that is effective for me and it's sustainable and it's calming. And yes, there's more levels for me to grow to, but there's so much more relief in being released from hair gel, from beauty gel, from feeling like I have to impress all these people and sitting in your natural beauty. There's a confidence that comes from really accepting yourself and working with what you got. I mean, can you imagine if I was perming this and stuff? And also with that, learning about my hair porosity, I remember when I got my first perm, I begged my mother for a perm. She didn't want to give me a perm. It wouldn't take on my hair, but I'm still trying to force it anyway. My head was full of scabs. It was horrible. That was traumatizing. I'll never forget it. So you couldn't pay me. I had scabs all in my scalp. That was self-inflicted, right? There's all kind of warnings on the box. I put lye on my hair. I begged my mother and she did not want to do it. If I think about that to me right now, that's horrifying. That's traumatizing. That's traumatizing. And that was after I used to get my ears burnt with a singeing, scalding hot, like a branding iron to get my hair straight. And I'm not demonizing it, but I'm telling you, it physically was traumatizing, painful. Why would I put myself through that? Why, if I've experienced my skin being clear, other than if I'm just zoning out and I'm not aware, what I want to put certain things in my body? I just don't want it. I'm so clear on the pain factor. It's just not worth it to me anymore. It took forever for my skin to get clear. I had chemical burns on my scalp. Then I've had braids that were so tight that my hair doesn't even fully grow back right here because I had braids that were too tight. We are torturing ourselves. I remember having shoes on that was so tight I had to take my shoes off in the street and walk down in a New York City street on concrete because my shoes were hurting me so bad. Even my son said, "Mommy, those shoes are gonna give you corns." So we're doing some stuff. If we really had to think about it, it's like we're under a spell. It is like we are under a spell. It makes no sense. We are putting ourselves, we may not think about it, and maybe it's we're putting ourselves in harm's way. For who? For what? And then all the stuff we're putting on our body, do we really think that all this makeup is preserving our health? Again, the blueberries or the pills? Would I rather have the aloe and the raw cocoa butter and the cucumber from my own kitchen? Which one, just intuitively, with your own gut, do you think will preserve your health and beautify you? Exercise or just stuffing ourselves because we're constantly triggered? So hopefully, yeah, you're welcome, Chrissy. You're welcome, Chrissy. So I hope that this video is helpful. I'm just sharing it from the heart. You'll have to find your own path. I'm just sharing my journey with whole, fresh living, that food that I can recognize: fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, herbs, and spices. Technically, you could say it's vegan. I like to focus more on it being cruelty free rather than the labels because we don't need one more thing to divide us. And there's a relief. I don't need to put any kind of products in my hair. And this thing with our hair being dry, even as a loose natural, this is a little bit different. It has body. It is not crispy. It's not crispy. And my scalp is like, my scalp is fine. I'm hydrating from the inside. I can give it a little massage. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. So, yeah. So subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you found some value. If you know a woman that's concerned about her skin in terms of having acne and feeling away because she has very fine hair, share the video. If you or maybe some women around you want to be inspired to start cultivate your own movement practice in your own house, even if you have a small space, you can create a gym if you like. I do have some resources that are available. I have some short ebooks. One is called well, it's short, but it was a lot of time and energy that went into it because I'm really speaking from the heart. So natural beauty, no products. So you can see my hair before I locked it and different things I was doing with my fine natural hair. Natural beauty, no products. And then also whole living foods in the hood. with menus to fit your budget. So that's not a recipe book. It's a book for, I've had many people over the years ask me, how is it that you don't cheat? And I used to be a junk food junkie, and I'm trained as a chef. And there's a lineage of obesity in my family, and half of my thyroid is gone. So I gain weight very easily. So when people are like, don't you eat this? Don't you eat that? So that was put out for folks that are interested in shortening their learning curve. So it does not have to take you 10, 15 years to flip the switch to make the decision to eat cruelty free. And I'm not even talking about a whole bunch of processed foods, right? To Where it really makes sense to eat whole, fresh, living food. So I think that can really be valuable in shortening people's learning curve. So I do coach people in making that transition with their food to make sure you're getting enough calcium and nutrients, especially if you're a woman or mom. You know, that can be other folks too, if you have a family, as well as cultivating a movement practice. What kind of tools do you need? Making sure that you're exercising safely, because I'm also a personal trainer. I've competed in fitness for many years. So those are some of the things that I offer if anybody is interested in having any kind of coaching and support. Coaching makes a big, big difference. I've been in the fitness industry and nutrition for many years, and I still always invest in coaches because it really helps to shorten my learning curve. So if you have questions, feel free to leave them. You can always reach out to me on body-culinary.com with your questions. My sister and I are going to be having a retreat coming up. There are going to be a couple of retreats coming up. So if there are individuals that are interested, if you have some time and you would like to come down to Central America for some time yourself to have hands-on learning of whole, fresh living foods as a lifestyle, fitness, check out some waterfalls and other stuff, you can do that. Or if you want to work with me online, that's also available to you. So with that being said, create a great day on purpose because you say so. And I invite you to explore radical self-acceptance. If you want to experience short hair, long hair, just embracing what's yours. You can curl it, you can do whatever you want. So I will see you again in another video.